Hello 106 class, I hope your weekend's going well. This is a brief video on the types of bonds, and that will determine in the next video how to name those bonds. So when the electrons are where the bonds are at. When the electrons are transferred, given to one atom and taken from another, we have ions that form. And the ions form results in an ionic bond. So ionic bonds form when electrons are transferred, completely given away, completely taken. When that happens, you get these ions with positive and negative charges. Those charges are electrostatic forces. And those electrostatic forces, the positive and negatives, are forces of attraction. It attracts the two atoms together. The second type of bond is when electrons are not given and taken, but they are shared. And the molecules form. When molecules form and the electrons are shared, we have a covalent bond that results. Now, compounds are usually classified as ionic or molecular, or another word for that is covalent compounds. And they're completely classified on the basis of the type of bonds present. Now, let's talk about ionic compounds for a second. Ionic compounds are between a metal, sorry about that. They're between a metal and a nonmetal. Metals, remember that's on the left side of the periodic table, usually lose their electrons easily. Now when you lose an electron, that's negative. You end up positive, so you form a cation. So metals become positive. Nonmetals usually gain electrons, and those are negative, so they're gaining electrons, they're gaining negatives, so they become negative, and they form the anion. When a metal and a nonmetal react, we have the transfer of electrons, and metals and nonmetals generally form ionic bonds or ionic compounds. So the bond that has ions is held together by ionic bonds. It's called an ionic compound. So we saw this periodic table on Thursday, and we saw that group 1, remember this stair step, okay? This stair step, there we go again. That stair step divides the metals, and then the stair step is like right here, from the nonmetals. So anytime you have a compound or a formula that has a metal and a nonmetal, it's going to be an ionic bond. The metal is going to be the positive cation. The nonmetal is going to be the negative anion. Together they make an ionic compound. So you can look at this periodic table and see that all of group 1 will form a +1 charge, group 2 +2, and over here all of group 17 forms a -1 charge, all of group 16 -2 charge. All of group, some of group 15 is -3, and some of group 13 is +3. But this periodic table will help you greatly in writing and balancing these ionic compounds. Ionic compound examples. So if we have one sodium ion, sodium is Na, or one sodium atom, I'm sorry. Sodium loses, it's a metal in group 1. It loses one electron, and so it ends up with this +1 ion, cation. Chlorine, which is in group 17, gains that one electron, and it ends up with a -1 charge. The +1 and -1 attract, kind of like magnets, and you get this neutral compound of sodium chloride. Looking at calcium and chlorine, calcium is in group 2, and so it will lose 2 electrons. When it loses 2 negative electrons, it ends up with this +2 charge. The chlorines, usually each of them accept only 1 electron. So one of these electrons will go to one chlorine, and then the other one will go to the other chlorine. So you will have 2 chlorines picking up those negative electrons. Each chlorine becomes -1 charged. You end up with a compound where one calcium gives away 2 electrons to 2 chlorines. So the formula is calcium chloride with a Cl2. Okay, ionic compounds usually are solid. They have very, very high melting and boiling points. So to melt an ionic compound, that's like trying to melt salt. They do not conduct in solid form, but if you can get them molten and melted, they will conduct electricity. This is a picture of an apparatus of melting sodium chloride, which really is just table salt. And when it melts, it will conduct the electricity and light this light bulb. Okay, so formulas of ionic compounds. The ionic compounds electrically, the whole compound is neutral overall because the positive and negatives balance out. The formula of an ionic compound has to have a ratio of ions, positives and negatives, so that their charges are all equal. The formulas are not molecules. They are not molecular formulas. It's like a bunch of negative and positive balls attracted to each other, and you're just trying to get the lowest common ratio when you write the formula. So, for example, aluminum and oxygen can come together as aluminum oxide. The 2 +3 aluminums give away 3 electrons each for a total of 6 positive charges. And then O2s each take 2 electrons. If there's 3 of them, they can take 6 of those negative electrons. But you have 6 positive and 6 negative, so you have a neutral charged compound. Now, molecular compounds, on the other hand, or covalent compounds, are formed when atoms share electrons. They don't give and take. They're evenly holding onto those electrons and just sharing them. And they are individual molecules, like H2O. That's one molecule, not a low ratio. Those are usually formed by a combination of non-metals. So if you have a formula with all non-metals, that is covalently bonded if it's non-metals. Covalent bonds are usually gas. They usually have low boiling points and low melting points, like CO2, like water. Those are all covalent bonds. They don't have any metals in the formula. Okay, so now you're ready for the next video by Dr. Broome on how to name compounds, and then Tuesday we will practice in class. I'll see you then. Happy Labor Day.